Hi there guys, I know it's late, it's about 10 p.m. here on the west coast, so this is going to be probably a Monday morning video for a lot of you watchers. But I spent 8 hours driving today to go get my son actually, and I was unplugged, and I'm pretty tired, so I'm going to do my best to connect all these dots for you guys. But I feel like this needs to be done, obviously, before any potential fireworks go on over the next couple days. So let's talk about everything that's gone on today. And first, let's discuss the more Saudi Arabian losses. And again, I don't have necessarily the time here to go over everything and all the backstory. If you want more specific details, you can check my last 2 or 3 videos and follow some of the breadcrumbs that I laid in there. But basically, we're waiting for that quote storm to hit, and we're expecting mass arrests, which we're seeing, and a lot of other shit to go down, which it seems like it is, and more will potentially happen in the next couple days that we'll talk about, that we're praying for. But anyway, with this Saudi loss, remember yesterday we had the mass arrests of multiple princes, many officials, and I want to make a note on the connections of these people that were arrested yesterday. One of the princes was directly connected to Obama, basically got him into Harvard. Another one of the princes owned the top floors of the Mandalay Bay, and I believe sold off a lot of that stock right before the shooting happened, put options. And another one of those princes was Bin Laden's brother, who actually had owned an oil company with George Bush previously. So I wonder why the Clintons and the Bushes are teaming up and being so anti-current administration right now, right? George H.W. Bush is probably shitting himself in his wheelchair bedpan right now. But anyway, in today's loss, we had more interesting things go on in Saudi Arabia. So what had happened is that a prince and 8 officials were killed in a helicopter crash. And they were, quote, returning from an inspection, right? It's just very peculiar that this happened the day after yesterday's occurrences. So, I mean, it's no question that they're linked, but then we have to speculate a little bit deeper. Who did it? Why did it happen? And how did it happen? So, I mean, of course, we can speculate. Maybe they were taken out so they wouldn't talk. Maybe they faked their deaths. Okay, I mean, plausible scenarios. But in my opinion, I think it was special operations, spec ops, maybe Marines, maybe Navy SEALs, but I think they were specifically taken out. If they didn't surrender, well then, goodbye, right? That's just my opinion. Anyway, while that's happening over there, remember, lots of these mass arrests are occurring, lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. Well, of course, we need a distraction, and I warned of a false flag in my video last night, and it looks like we had multiple ones happen today. So again, be very careful, people. Hide your kids, hide your wife. In Texas, Sutherland Springs, we had that church shooting. We had a lot of people actually killed, and remember, point on false flags doesn't mean nobody got killed if you're calling it a false flag. Point being, 9/11 was a false flag. 9/11 was not a hoax. So you have to differentiate between the two. This was definitely a false flag, not a hoax. And it was a false flag done specifically to distract us, cause fear and panic, and try to force their agendas upon us, that being gun control and other things. So the shooter, he was previously in the Air Force. Big surprise, how many Air Force bases are only within a distance of Sutherland Springs. He was found dead, of course, I believe after a short car chase, but dead nonetheless, And then the FBI, of course, responds. So remember, guys, whenever there's a false flag in America, particularly a mass shooting, what are the connections to the FBI? That's all I have to ask there. And then there was actually another shooting in Fresno, California, and both of these were at churches. Remember, guys, who are we dealing with? We're dealing with some deep state factions, shadow government. I mean, call them what you want, but these people at the very top or the very deepest levels worship different gods than you do. Believe me, they're Satanists, they're Luciferians. Again, the name or the nomenclature isn't necessarily what's important, but understand, their gods eat babies. Yours hopefully don't. And they're a different breed of human than you and I are. So we have these false flags, again, designed to cause panic. I would imagine we want to be on the lookout, of course, for the next couple days for weirder stuff to happen. And we also had a man who leapt to his death from the Trump Tower. And I couldn't find too much information on this. It was reported in just a couple sources. I found an article in the New York Post, mainstream. He said he fatally leapt to his death from the Trump Hotel. Apparently this guy was schizophrenic. He was on drugs. So, this is just really weird. This is really weird to happen. I don't even know what to speculate with this one. There's always the idea of influencing, remote influencing. Could have been very well that he was influenced to jump off that tower and just cause some kind of panic or chaos at Trump HQ there. So I don't know, guys. It's just weird. And let's talk about this one though, the Paradise Papers, because there's some very crucial points I want to make about this. Right? So the Paradise Papers. Honestly, I haven't really seen any papers. I've just seen links on the internet, so it might be fake news. Here's my point though. So with the Paradise Papers, remember those Panama Papers that came out, what was it, a year and a half ago? So with these Paradise Papers, first thing, okay, I don't doubt their authenticity. I want to make that a note real quick. But first thing, where was it reported? I first saw it on the BBC. Then I saw it on The Guardian. And then I saw it on some other mainstream networks. So put that into your discernment catalog before you go any further, right? It was reported in the mainstream. Okay, now let's take a look at what was reported. Okay, we had a lot of, essentially what it looked like to me, I'll just tell you, it looked like they were throwing a bunch of people under the bus who actually did some bad things, but what they were doing is also trying to implicate a lot of Russian connections into it. I saw a report on it on the CNN, and they pinned Donald Trump and made a web as to all of his Russian connections in these Paradise Papers. So what is it? Panama Toilet Papers 2.0. It's a giant distraction and it's a giant diversion. It's literally like, it seems last minute, right? It seems as if they hired some kid or hired a monkey to type on a typewriter all night and pump out this thing to distract everybody and to take the eyes off what's going on here and what else could potentially go on the next couple days that we'll talk about. But multiple distractions, guys. Shooting, dude leaping to his death, Panama Papers being released anywhere. I mean, you can just connect all the dots here. And again, I mean, I don't doubt that a lot of these people and Russian oligarchs and whatnot implicated in these papers did some shady things, but just look at who is implicated and look at, again, who's reporting it, the timing they're reporting it, and why they would be as well. So to me, it looks like it's a null point, okay? Obviously, there's much more disclosures that we need to deal with than these puny Paradise Papers. And then next, I just want to talk about the sealed indictments. I didn't mention this in my video last night, so I think I might have found out about it afterwards. But anyway, we actually do have 12 sealed indictments in this Russia investigation, this Mueller probe. And here's a big point that gives a lot of credence to a lot of these suppositions that have been floating around the past couple days. 2 of them were filed between November 2nd and November 4th. 2. Who were those 2 could have been? The Podesta brothers, it is rumored to be. So this is why over the next couple days, we could very well see the admittance or the public display of the Podesta brothers being arrested. It is said. So again, we don't know quite yet if they actually are, but a lot of things in this 4chan post that have been basically we've been waiting for to make public and to be real, a lot of these alleged things that were going to happen, it looks like to be true. Either he's telling the truth and knows a lot of shit as to what's going on, or he's just psychic or something to that effect. So again, we could see some big things tomorrow that I'll talk a little bit more about. Just before I get there, I do want to make a note of this dot. I'll link this down below. But a fire captain, a Northern California fire captain who is a Navy veteran and a 25-year, 30-year fire educator, his name was John Lord. He actually went on the record saying that all the wind and fire events around Santa Rosa were not natural, which is why this is only confirming all the speculation as to directed energy weapons, scalar technology being utilized on humanity. Because that's what it is, folks. It's literally not only a physical war, but a spiritual war on humanity by 6 sociopathic groups of humans that are being controlled by non-terrestrial species, and they're trying to cause as much panic from humanity as possible because they literally feed off of our fear, then they energetically feed off of our dismay, our despair. So understand that, guys. This is why me doing these live videos and all of you guys talking about this to every one of your friends and family is so important, because the sooner people can get this, the sooner it can be done with, right? Looking away from it is not helpful. You can focus on all this positivity and happy sunshine thoughts as you want, but looking at this is the only way to get rid of it. In my opinion, it is happy thought, because I'm like, great, if we can expose these guys, talk about it, let it be known, expose it and disclose it, then we can move on to creating a much better system than the ones we have. So again, guys, we have some possible big days ahead, and I want to make one last note before I go here. Beware of major false disclosures. And I have these little acronyms right down here in the corner of the video here. I hope you can see it. SSP and ET, right there. Secret Space Program and Extraterrestrial Disclosures. So, case in point, I saw an article on the Scientific American yesterday, a couple days ago. It says, how wind might nudge a sleeping giant in Antarctica. Interesting. It's a very interesting title, especially if you understand a couple layers deeper. And then there's another article circulating around a story where they were trying to make it seem like, or it is the case, but they were saying that, ooh, aliens might look a lot more like humans than we realize because of Darwin's evolution or something like that. Then, of course, we have Tom DeLonge trying to act like he's disclosing the TR-3B for the first time in history, and a whole lot of other things going on. But this is the biggest just false, half-assed, partial, false flag disclosure they can play, because the secret space program and extraterrestrial topics are some of the least known, the least aware of. The mass public is in the most ignorance of these specific topics. Of course, Pedogate's a big one, but a lot of people are waking up to that fact because it's just so atrocious that these ones are kind of getting lost, brushed under the rug. So what they can do is literally, they can do this by various means. There's many ways they could do it, but they could disclose some kinds of extraterrestrial presence. They could disclose some kind of ruins in Antarctica. They could disclose some kind of secret space programs or weapons platforms or technology that seems so fancy that we've actually had for 70 years, and completely distract from any of this. Because obviously the shootings aren't working. The Paradise Papers aren't working. You know, all this stuff's not working. So be on alert, guys. I mean, we could seriously see some kind of much more massive much more massive false flag, I want to say, than anything else we've seen. So yeah, that's pretty much all the points that I want to make in this one. You know, as much as I want to take a day off, I'm sure some shit will happen over the next couple of days, and I'll be back at a much more pleasant time to watch than the middle of the night. So thank all you night owls for watching. And I'll be back, and again, thank all you guys for supporting as well. For, you know, these live vids have gone pretty viral and spread like crazy, so thank you all for sharing them, and thank you all for supporting me, whether it's through my website, Patreon, PayPal, whatever the case is. So have a great week, folks. I think we're in for a big one. Peace.